What is up, everyone? So today I have two GoPros in comparison. I have the Hero 8 on the right and I have the Hero 9 on the left. I have both media mods for them. We're going to compare the features that they come with, the price point that they come in at, and some of the issues I encountered, and whether or not they're worth purchasing. So let's get into this review and see what they're all about. So before we get into this review, I want to go over the customer service that GoPro has, okay? I encountered some customer support with GoPro when purchasing the Hero 9, okay? My biggest issue was I couldn't make this purchase online because my credit card were getting invalid responses. It said I tried multiple credit cards and they didn't work. I contacted customer support. They were right on it, quick to respond in regards to my needs to purchase this. The person assured me that they needed to talk to a colleague of theirs to go over some of the issues that I've had and some of the things that we could do to see if I could purchase it that day. So we made some changes in the purchase order, putting one of these on it, trying to purchase it. It didn't work. Same thing. Stayed on the chat line with them for an hour and 45 minutes to try to get this thing purchased. Bottom line, it didn't go through. Okay. I was informing them that I had a coupon code that would give me a free backpack to purchase. Once I purchased this, that I'd get the free backpack, but it's a limited time. And before it expired, I wanted to make sure I could purchase it. They assured me that I needed to get customer support from corporate and that they would forward my email to them, and they would email me back and assured me that no matter what happened, I would still get that that promotion due to my issue that I had. Fast forward, they told me that it would take, a few days to get a response, which it didn't. It took a week, okay? I got a response that blatantly told me, go purchase it from a retail store. And that didn't settle well with me in a sense of I've been purchasing GoPro since the Hero 2 came out. And it was kind of disheartening that they would just give me like a single lined answer that said, hey, we can't help you. Go purchase it from a retail store. We don't care about you. Given that, I was kind of ticked off. My biggest thing was not the backpack, but the principle of the backpack would have been to make sure the customer got what they wanted, because they came up with this issue that they had trying to purchase their product. And they didn't even tell me anything about, hey, we're sending the backpack, even though even when you purchase this in store, we're going to still send you the backpack because your coupon code expired. Okay, they didn't even say nothing about that. So I contacted customer support once again, and I was on chat with them for about an hour, and now I'm still waiting on the response, since they told me that they needed to talk to their colleagues in regards to getting the free backpack. Like I said, it's not about the backpack. I really don't care too much about the backpack, but it's about the principle, okay, of the whole thing. That's why I'm informing you guys that the customer chat line support is phenomenal. GoPro as a corporation sucks. They suck in terms of customer service, customer support. We're the people that are purchasing their items from them, so they should cater to us. That's the way I see it. So with that being said, let bygones be bygones. Buy the product that you're going to enjoy, since I do enjoy their products, and let's get into this review. Let's talk about the buckle system. This did not come with this GoPro here. This came with an older version of the GoPro, I believe before the Session series came out. So let's talk about why I have this one out. So I've been using this buckle in conjunction with this setup for the past year. So when you purchase your GoPro, you get this buckle here, And then the new buckle that comes with your media mod is the same as the old version where it's on the right side. Okay, the reason why they had to do this was so that way your thumb screw could exit on the left side when put in this way. Okay, so I could thread in this way. If it was on this side, you wouldn't be able to unclip this area and hinge out your door. That's why they had to give you a new buckle. What's surprising is the fact that they give you a new buckle, but they give you a high-rise buckle. Okay, maybe they thought the idea of a high-rise buckle would give you easier access to your thumb screw, but that's not the case in this instance, because you're limited by the footprint at which these tabs come down. Okay, so as you can see, the longer buckle here did not change the distance of this thumb screw from your media mod. Okay, this is the original gap at which you get your camera at, and this is when you have your media mod, how it fills in that area. As you can see, it did not move down, and that's due to these fingers on the GoPro not being longer. So you have this increase in height for no reason. I don't recommend using this unless you have crap that's under here next to your buckle, so that way you can fit your fingers in here to unloosen it. But other than that, the longer buckle has no purpose. So that leads me into the thumb screw. Okay, so they give you the same thumb screw that comes with the purchase of the GoPro, just like this one, same exact deal. And so I generated this thumb screw here, which gives you a little bit more length, as you can see. And what that allows, and I state in the previous video, is it allows your thumb screw, instead of being tucked up under here like so, it extends it out for you to be able to grab the end of the knob and make your adjustments that you need. Okay, so it goes from there versus that. It doesn't make sense why they didn't give you an extended thumb screw. Maybe it's just trying to save money and use what they have as far as the mold is concerned, but that's why I started to generate these. I show a video on how to make them, and if you weren't able to make them and you wanted to purchase one, I also gave that link in that video as well. Let's go over the media mod before we go over the GoPro. Okay, so let's compare the two. Minus the wind muff here, which is an added feature to the new 9 media mod, which is really nice because it's plastic on the inside, so it doesn't have as much flex as just a solid foam piece would have. And when it clips on and it stays there without falling off. Actually, on the back side you would have to push up and remove it. Okay, so minus that, the media mod looks the same from the front. Okay, you have your locking point here for your cold shoe mount, like so. You have your mic coming up from the front, which is pretty close to the same thing. The only difference is the Hero 9 doesn't have a dome. So as you can see, there's a dome on the Hero 8 mic right here. The Hero 9, it's flat, flush. That's nice because you don't have to worry about it getting damaged as easy. The diameter of the Hero 8 looks a little bit larger than the Hero 9. Okay, doesn't mean that the mic is any different in size. They could have just condensed the diameter. All right. The width here is a little bit smaller on the Hero 8 than the Hero 9. Okay. You don't have the pin here on the Hero 8, but on the 9 you do have the pin, so you could see that. Okay, so you turn it to the opposite side. You got a lot larger button on the Hero 9 than you do on the Hero 8, which is a lot nicer in my personal opinion. The bottom same exact thing, except it's wider, so your whale for your thumb screw is a little bit wider, and you could see that based on this trim here versus this trim here. It's a solid edge right here, whereas this one kind of tapers outward in that direction and this direction. Okay, giving you a larger space there. On the side, it's a little bit different. The microphone pickup right here, you got the mesh. Same thing with this, but they put additional plastic slats in there. And this might be to enhance the audio of it, so that way you don't get as much wind noise in there. I'm not entirely sure. Or this has the same design but underneath the screen. The benefit of having the screen on the outside is you won't collect as much dust and dirt in here that you could visually see. So I think this would be a little bit better if they encompass the outside of this with it. Okay, the top button on the 9 is a little bit larger than the 8. You have the same shoe mount. If you look close, you have the spring exposed on both of them. Except for the nice thing about the 9 Media Mod is it's a lot tighter as far as fitment, whereas this one has a gap here, a little bit larger gap that you could visually see. So the button on the top of the new one is a lot easier to actuate than the old one. This rubber feels a little bit more rough, but it could be because this is a larger pad, so it's easier to depress than the old one is. So when looking at the two, as you can see on the 8 right here, you have a larger microphone for the rear microphone part, whereas the new 9, it's a little bit tinier as far as the screen is concerned. Like I said, I don't know if they changed out the mic to make it more sensitive and that's why they have less exposure or not. You have exposed jacks here. So you have the auxiliary jack, you have your USB-C jack, and then you have your HDMI mini jack for your display. And then for the 9, they're all enclosed. So they got these rubber foldable plastic covers that add a great value to your Media Mod. And as you can see, they fold very nicely, and then they have your rubber right here, so they make some type of seal when you close them, so you don't have to worry about moisture getting into them. Okay, so it's very straightforward. This Media Mod, the new one, I think is way better than the old one from the feature aspect of it. Okay, so if you look at the finish of it, this one has, the 8 has a more smooth finish, whereas the 9 has like a texture. You can see the difference. One thing I could tell by the fit and finish, just the feel of it, I would say the larger one, even though it's larger, you think it'd be more flimsy. The 9 actually feels more robust than the 8. This one, when you open up the door, it's kind of hard to open it up, but it feels cheap, especially when you start flicking it around, which you shouldn't be, but it just feels cheap. Whereas the 9, when you're opening up the door, it just doesn't feel as cheap. This one feels like almost like a hollow feel, whereas this one feels like it's more solid. And that could be due to the thickness here. As you can see, you got a lot more wall thickness here versus here. Okay, and because it's a larger size, so that could be one of the reasons why this one feels more robust than this one. But other than that, there's not much thickness difference in the bottom and the top. But the plastic does feel cheaper on this one than it does on this. Maybe the spring actually feels a little bit stronger on this one, and that could be due to the tolerances. As you can see, there's more gap in the right one than there is on the left. So that could be why. So there's a definite sound difference in the way this one clips versus the 8. So let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, and then you have this one. Okay, this one takes a lot more effort to have this latch locked down on it. As you can see, it's almost like it's sticking out a little bit, and then you kind of gotta like force it in. Whereas the older version, okay, I'm just able to push in and it locked in easily. As you can see, there's a little bit more gap on the old one than the new one. Negligible, but it's still there. Also, the tab is more pronounced than the new one. On the old one, it's kind of like they took the door tab on the new one right here, that little bump for the Hero 9, and they already had it on the Hero 8, but they didn't carry that over on the Hero 9. Okay, which is a bummer because that really helps in removing this for your battery. It's like the same with these doors. The Hero 9 itself right here has the bump out and the Hero 8 doesn't, but on the media mod it's like it got reversed. Pretty interesting. Okay, so let's check the audio samples on both of these. So if you look close to the part where it connects, it's all one solid rubber molded piece here. This one, same exact thing, except it has this bump right there, and I think that's to keep the battery in. Okay, but they are both similar. One thing I wish they did on the media mod is, instead of having this rubber bump out that would take place at the door, when it pushes in, it makes contact with the battery and seals it, is I wish they allowed for the third-party companies like this, or even include something like this, to be able to be inserted in there on your GoPro and make a seal and make it somewhat water resistant, because the only exposure you have is the area where your terminal will connect. Okay, this one was for the 8, so it's a little bit narrower than the 9, but they have this for both GoPros. This right here was designed so that way you could run, if you didn't have a media mod back in the day when they had the GoPro mic adapter, you could actually run the mic adapter through here and then keep a door on so your battery didn't fly out, especially in sports where you're kind of moving. Even though the mic shouldn't be utilized in a sports activity, some people may put them on their drones or something, so that way they get audio of their drone really crisp. Or even a paintball scenario, they might want to run a microphone and keep the paint out of their door or their battery compartment where their door would be, okay, and keep their battery from falling out. So this microphone here did not come with one of these wind muffs. Okay, so I think you could buy an aftermarket one that was just a wind muff itself, or a pop filter, whatever you want to call it, but this new one did. And basically what you do is you put it in there and push it over and it clips in. The nice thing is this plastic tab right here where you push up and it pops out, so it gives it a premium feel. Definitely the new 9 is a lot better as far as build quality and what it comes with. So as far as sound quality of this new Hero 9 mic adapter or media mod, whatever you want to call it, I have an issue with this, and it does not fit the Hero 9 properly. Okay, so let's get into that right now. So let's assemble it and keep an eye on this corner here. Okay, so when I push it in, as you can see, it turned white, and that's the screen protector lifting because it doesn't have enough space to go underneath the plastic or stay away from the plastic. So they needed to make this cutout a little bit larger, like they did for this one here. As you can see the difference. Okay, so lifts your screen protector, and that's the major flaw with this new media mod, is you will not be allowed to use the screen protector in the rear, which sucks. Okay, so I was thinking about modifying this media mod and cutting away some of this plastic because I thought maybe it was touching on the top, but as you can see, it touches at the top, but as I push closer, as you can see, it's butted up all the way up to the edge. I can't even close it. It's way too far away from the end to even get closed. So, I mean, I'd have to cut into where it folds, and I'm not about to do that because then that defeats the purpose of this, the covers. So maybe that's why they had to make it a lot closer to utilize the space to put these rubber flaps in there. I'm not sure. So with the Pro came a con. You won't be able to put a glass screen protector on with this media mod setup. I don't recommend the gel ones either, because if you have the gel ones, they may be a little bit thicker. But even if they did work, you're going to be sliding your GoPro in and out to swap out the battery anyway, so eventually those will peel as well. Don't waste your money, save it. Maybe buy a glass one for the front. But even the glass ones, as you can see, they're peeling, and I don't know if that's due to the screen of the GoPro or if it's just the glass protector that I bought. When we record on the Hero 9 or the Hero 8, you get a little red light blinking here. Okay, when you record on the Hero 9 Black, you'll get a light up here that's like a slot that illuminates. I like this a lot better. It just looks a lot cleaner. So one cool thing about the media mod setup on the 9 is, as you can see, you got a Preamp Meter, which the 8 doesn't have, and those are the features that you get with the newer version of stuff. You know, they add all these little gimmicks for you, but that's actually pretty cool because you can make sure everything's kosher with your audio. Okay, and then of course you could set your buttons on both versions of it to whatever it is you want, so that way you can make your own interface. Okay, so let's select that. We'll do a front mic on this one, and then we'll do the front mic on this one as well. So to make it fair, I've removed the wind muff only because it's not windy, and I want them both to be equal. Okay, so we'll do the front audio mic first, the back, and then the stereo part. So this is an audio sample of the Hero 8 Black at arm's distance away. This is the sound quality of the Hero 9 Black. So this is an audio sample of the GoPro Hero 8 Black rear microphone. This is an audio sample of the Hero 9 Black rear microphone at arm's distance away. So one of the weird things about the new Hero 9 is it doesn't have stereo mode. Okay, it has 3 options: front, back, stereo. Okay, on the Hero 8, the Hero 9 actually has front, back camera mics. So I'm unsure if that's all the camera mics all together, including the ones on the GoPro or what have you. But I'm going to compare the camera mic setup like this to the stereo mode and isometric view, so that way you could get a well perspective of the surroundings of what it sounds like. So let's record. So this is an audio sample of the Hero 8 Black in stereo mode. This is an audio sample of the Hero 9 Black in camera microphone mode. Okay, so one thing when purchasing the new Hero 9 is they don't skimp out when you pay the $50 more, whatever it is, for your purchase. Compared to the old model, you do get a hard shell case. which is a first. You get a mesh webbing here. You get this plastic insert that houses the GoPro. You get your little areas to put your sticky tabs in, your cord, and then you get your thumb screw, of course. You could also take this out, you get rid of it, which this egg carton is useless. I mean, you're going to want to maximize your space here anyway. Okay, it's soft lined, so nothing should get scratched. Okay, you got the GoPro branding here. It's like a rubbery print almost, but not too protruded outward. The nice thing is this zipper pull tab. Okay, you don't have that hard edge that your typical zippers come with, that hard piece of pull tab. I like these better because they flex and they maneuver with your motion. Okay, so that's nice. It has their logo. Okay, and then the best thing is it's water resistant. I mean, water could get on here, it's going to wick away because it's hard shell, of course, but the zippers are where typical cases fail at being water resistant. As you can see, this zipper's reversed, or flipped around, I should say, and you don't see the teeth, so that allows the water to bead off of here, and then also allows most people that get waterproof or water resistant bags, the zippers themselves have like a little flap over them, like on your backpack, which get caught up in the zipper itself. But doing it this way and having them reverse it or flipped around, it doesn't have that issue, because you don't have to worry about a piece of material folded over your zipper and getting hung up and zipping in. And let's look at the GoPros and compare what they look like on the outside. As you can see, you got one hole here that allows for audio to go in, even though it looks like a whole bunch of holes for audio. It's only one. Whereas here, you got all those holes to source audio from. The GoPro branding is the same. As you can see, the screen's a lot bigger on the front on the new one. You have a light in the center right here that's a slot style light, whereas this one is going to be a little dot. They both light up red. Okay, they went back to the original design with the replaceable lens, which is great, because this Hero 8, the lens sucks in a sense of, if you get it scratched, it's permanently damaged. You gotta get a whole new GoPro. The sides, as you can see, this one is smooth. This one has this little block here, which I don't know what it is. I can't pull it out, so I don't know what the deal is right there. Maybe it's for audio, maybe it's for drainage. I'm not sure if it gets wet. Everything's basically the same. You have this little notch here, which may be what that is. Okay, you have a little microphone here, which could also be what is underneath that. On the bottom, you have the same tab setup. Okay, flick this down, you have a microphone there. Flick this one down, you have a microphone there. As you can see all the way through. On the opposite side, you have the doors. This one is a lot smaller than this one. The fit and finish, as you can see right here, you got like a little bit of trim gap right there, whereas this one is pretty flush. The top, you got a button. You can see the door, metal pin. You don't have on the Hero 8 a microphone port on the top, but the Hero 9 you have a microphone port on the top. The back of the screens, as you can see, the Hero 9 is a lot bigger. If you look here, the branding takes up a big chunk of real estate. Same thing here, but the screen itself is a lot larger, which we could turn on now. So as you can see, the screen size is a lot better on the Hero 9 for sure. And then as you can see, the black and white image, which sucks, and then the new colored display. way better for framing shots. For the longest time, I didn't really care about framing shots until I start cropping some of my head, or my hair I should say, and then I realized, hey, you know what, having a display might be a better option for me. GoPro shoots wide anyway, so I mean, for the most part, you don't really care as far as what you see in focus, because it does shoot that large field of view. But when shooting in linear, you got to be careful because you will crop your head. As you can see, it's a rectangle on the back screen, so it's like a wide view. And if you make your way around the front, you can see it's more of a square, and the aspect ratio is not the same as the back, so it's going to crop some of the image out. So make sure when you're utilizing the front screen, you're actually in frame and you're not worried about the surroundings around you, because you won't be able to see them. So when we look at the base, as you can see, this one has two microphone pickups. This one only has one. I'm unsure if, because you could see the metal in there, you can see metal in here. I'm unsure if this is just the microphone and this one's a dummy, but this one doesn't have a microphone at all. So as far as user interface, I mean, they're both the same. Everything's basically the same except for the Hero 9 being larger. So if you already have a GoPro, you kind of know what this interface feels like. If you have anything before the 8, like the 7 and before, the interface is a little bit different. But if you have the 8, the interface for the 9 is the same. And minus like the new updates as far as like stabilization and stuff is concerned. I mean, that's just added features to this, whereas this one's doesn't have those added features. This one has horizon lock and stuff like that. So those are additions to the newer GoPro, which other people already have videos on. I'm just telling you, comparing the actual cameras side by side and what they feel like and whether or not it's worth upgrading based on the new features that they come with. So when looking at the actual tabs for the GoPro, levers to access your door, as you can see, there's a little protrusion here, whereas there's not on the 8. And this allows you to get a better purchase on the door to pop it off, whereas this one is a little bit harder because it's recessed in there. So let's get into the door. Pull down, pop out, okay? Same thing with the new one, you pull down, pop out. It does have the red mark there, which you don't see in like this one. So even though this one's pulled down, this one's discreet, you can't see it. So there's really no purpose on having that red mark. It's kind of crazy how they even, why they would even put that on there. It really doesn't matter. If your door's open, you'll know anyway. One feature that I noticed with this door setup is the new one has been upgraded. When you lift up on this one, it easily pops off. When you lift up on this one, as you can see, it goes above 90, so 90 would be there. It goes above that and still doesn't pop off. Like, I'm pushing on it a lot, torquing it over in my hand, and it's not popping off. Okay, the old one sucked. I mean, this door sucked. It didn't even lift up to 90. So pulling out your battery was a chore, because as you can see, your battery is like perfectly touching the whole time. So if your fingers are big like mine and you pushed up on it, you could clip that and it would pop off to your door, and you'd be hard pressed to find it if it fell in the dirt or some tall grass. Okay, so popping this off is real easy to do. With this new one, you actually got to lift and pull out. Okay, I'm going to compare doors. As you can see, they went a little bit further. It's a hollow door frame for the C part at the very bottom because of this metal spring tab right there. They extended it out, whereas this one has a flat, just a flat spring tab right there that catches. This one's like double reinforced, so it's a little bit thicker. giving it a lot more structure. And then also the angle of that door, as you can see, the opening is almost parallel to this surface here, so it's parallel across, whereas this one's facing downward, not allowing it to pivot as far. Okay. As far as the structure here, this one has a little foam pad here, whereas this one has a bigger foam pad, even though it's a smaller door. But other than that, everything's pretty much the same, as minus the rivet locations. This one has 2 notches, unsure what those are for, whereas this one has a cutout right there. The openings on the door, as you can see, it's a lot bigger for the new one. And then the 8 is a lot smaller. You have the same USB-C location. You have your micro USB plug-in area. The Hero 8, of course, you had to buy the blue top batteries if you wanted stabilization to work. So I went out and bought these, and guess what? The battery got bigger. So now you had to buy extra batteries anyway. But I'm not complaining on that, because I'd rather buy again and get something better than them utilizing, like they did this one, the same battery, but still have to make you buy a different battery because the technology requires faster speed transfer as far as the battery power is concerned, because it pulled more battery juice faster due to the stabilization. So as you can see, it's a lot bigger, but that does not increase your runtime, because now you got a front display that's color, that's sucking power, and then a larger rear display. So keep that in mind. Bigger doesn't mean that you get a longer battery life. They just had to adapt for all the features they added. Okay, just like how they did this one, they had to add more amp draw for the features that they added for the stabilization. As far as battery chargers, this one lights up right here, this one lights up down here. Okay, but as you can see, they're different in size. This battery charger for the 8 will also work on the batteries before the 8. Even though this is a blue top, it still works on the same base as all the other ones. Okay, so this one was actually from my, I believe, 6 or 7. And then this one here is a lot shorter, a lot more compact. I mean, they got rid of all this extra bulk, and the battery sticks up instead of sits flush in there like how this one does. So as you can see, this one tucks in there, this one doesn't. There's a pro and a con to both. I like to be able to put my batteries in there, because you could also use this as a storage when putting it in your bag. But I mean, that could be good and that could be bad, because now you're depressing those tabs, and maybe it's taking some voltage and dispensing it while it's in here. Unsure, but that's just something to consider. Other than that, they did cut the size down, so they got rid of all this extra top piece and they just kept the lower bottom piece. This is the old retro GoPro logo. This is the new one. Okay, other than that, same concept. So another thing I noticed, if you look at the bottom of this, okay, you can see the glass screen protector, but other than that, you can see it's pretty flush. Now if you look at the new 9, there's a large gap down here, like where the screen didn't get centered, and this one doesn't have a screen protector because I removed it. And at the very top, you can see it's flush. So you can see the large gap in the bottom, whereas this one, this is a screen protector. You look close and it goes all the way to the edge right there. So the build quality on the 8 is a lot better than the 9. I think they paid more attention to the 8. I'm unsure if this gap down in the bottom corners here is an issue for water. It should have a sealant across that glass anyway, but I like the fit and finish of the older one, the 8, a lot better. It gives me a little bit more peace of mind than this one, especially if you're gonna submerge it in water. So let's boot them both up, okay? Let's look at the front screens. As you can see, it gets the 9. That's pretty cool. One nice thing about recording with these, the new 9, is on boot up. If you enable it, you're recording something, and then you turn it off, and then you miss something that happens. I think it's within 30 seconds, and you push record right away. It'll actually show you what happened before those 30 seconds and put it a part of your timeline as well. It'll capture that event, so that way you don't have to worry about this happening, booting up and then pushing record. As long as you push record, it'll take whatever happens in those few seconds before the power up happen. It'll capture that moment so you don't miss out on anything that you should have been recording and you didn't realize. One thing I noticed that's a little different is the camera. As you can see, the way the cameras look, they're a little bit different. Okay, I don't recall what the 7 looked like, but the 8 actually looks a lot cleaner. You know, the 9 kind of looks old school with all these rings in it, whereas the 8 is like one ring and that's it. Okay, so this one looks a lot more futuristic than this one, because you could kind of see that little eye focal thing in there, and it just looks old school. So, price point, is it worth spending the extra $50? I mean, depending on what you get them at, they're running a promotion where this one's comes in at a certain price if you buy the subscription, or if you buy the bundle. Same thing happened to this one, but now this one's a little bit cheaper in value as far as what the stores are selling it at. So price is dependent on what deal you're going to get at the time. Okay, so is it worth purchasing one or the other? I definitely purchase this one all day over the 8, only because that front screen is an awesome feature, and the removable lens on the new 9 is way better than having it fixed. As far as the 7's concerned, having that removable lens, that's phenomenal, but stabilization on the 8 is way better than the 7, hands down. And I believe the 9 is going to be even better than the 8, because technology moves forward, it doesn't move backward. That's going to complete today's video. If you like this video and enjoyed this content, definitely give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Until next time, I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.